Hey guys, Will from Replicant here. This video is on the bearded dragon morphs video that I promised. Okay, so firstly, a morph is decided by the breeder who created the either color or like texture or like what do you call it? Like the like if you morph something like the nails being clear, which is called a hypo, or the scales being reduced, which is a leatherback, and then no scales is silkback, and then being having black eyes, or some have black eyes, and then being a little bit see-through is translucent. And the person who first discovered this was probably the person who chose the name. And that's the same with colours as well. So if you just look online, if you type up like leucistic bearded dragon, which is a white type of dragon, it's like really white, then you'll see that if you have a dragon that is just like that, then you'll be like, oh, I have a leucistic then. But that's wrong, because a leucistic is a bearded dragon specifically from that breeder. So if I take Daisy for example, I don't think those guys are going anywhere. Daisy for example. Okay, so I'll put an annotation on the screen of my first video, new red, actually I won't put it over there. New red bearded dragon, it'll be on screen now. You'll see Daisy when she's white, and obviously she's changed colour. Not like completely, she'd still go white, but it's just because it's nice and hot. She doesn't need to be a great colour right now. So she goes white, but then she has a red beard and red eyes, and she has a few just like markings of other different colours, like yellow and everything. And yeah, she could not be called a leucistic or like a something else that a breeder would call like a snow or nothing like that. It'd have to be, if you went to sell her offspring, say if you had another white bearded dragon, you would have to call them white bearded dragon hatchlings. You couldn't call them leucistic or snow, unless you made up that name and it hadn't been taken already. So, Little Red, if I can find him. There he is. Okay, so Little Red here, he's a Rick Walker red bearded dragon, so he has a specific name by the name of the person who started his colour. Pretty much like all the red bearded dragons in Australia came from Rick Walker, and he's built up a really good reputation. And yeah, so he's got his, this is what his morph is. So you won't know what a bearded dragon's morph is unless you check with the breeder, and if they don't know, then you're probably just going to have to call it a red or whatever colour it is, bearded dragon. So these guys here, I'm not sure of their morph, but if I were to call them anything, I just call them red/yellow bearded dragons, because when she's a good colour, she goes red in the ears. You can kind of see it now. See the red in her ears, mate, can't, because of the shadow. But yeah, she goes red in the ears and just red beardish type thing, and then red all along the sides and down the tail. But then she gets a full yellow body. And then he just goes more of an orange, red, yellow, like he's a mix. And yeah, so I don't know what their morph is called. So I could make up a morph, obviously not straight out of the these guys, but over time, if I selective breed, which is when you breed brother and sister and then keep that gene, and it turns out with a colour that stays constant, I could think of a name of that. I just call it like Williams Reptiles or something. William, yeah, something like that. So yeah, I could make up a name for their morph, and then sell them as that name, and then yeah. But at the moment, if these guys were to breed, I just call them red/yellow or red/orange bearded dragon hatchlings, and I'd show photos of the parents and show them what they're going to look like when they're older, and they'll probably be much brighter than these parents, because when you do breed brother and sister, the hatchlings, most of the time, they turn out a lot brighter. So Sandfire is that's just like a common name that everyone uses for a dragon like Ruby over there, who's just a little red, a little orange, and a little yellow, like Scooby and Ruby. So, but if I were to sell them, like, you can just call them a Sandfire if you want, just like, because that's what they'd look like. But if you were to sell them, you can't call them that, because that's not what they are. That's just what they look like. If I'm getting any of this information wrong, I've just done a bit of research, and I've had a bit of experience talking to some breeders. If I'm getting anything wrong, feel free to put it in the comments. I'll be sure to answer it and, yeah, see if I am wrong. But I think I'm pretty right here. So, yeah, what else is there? There's like, a morph is also not just colour, like I said, it's the scales or the head shape or something like that. These guys over here, I'll just show you here for a sec. So you can see Daisy here. She has quite a long snout. Same with Little Red. They're both quite long. But if you go over to Ruby here, she's got a really short snout. So that focus there. Okay, and Scooby has a long snout. Now, all of Scooby's brothers and sisters, except for him, well, the ones that I saw, like Iggy and, what's the other one's name? Ziggy, that I sold, they also had short snouts, so that'll probably carry in his genes, although he doesn't show it, it'll still carry in his genes, and, so I could put that in the title, because I know that that's a morph, or a term that's used, like, that's in their genes, and, like, yeah, but it's not, like, something that looks like it, like, something that's not a colour, but it really looks like it, and it would carry on in their genes, then that's when you can actually use the name. Like, with the leatherback, I'd have to call them a leatherback, because I'm pretty sure one of the fathers or something came from America, and he was a leatherback bearded dragon, and then the mother was a hypo red, and the father, oh no, she was a hypo yellow, and he was a red, so that's why they got all the mixed colours. So, yeah, and if it was a silkback, you can't really get any difference. I know of people who have actually bred silkbacks from just a normal bearded dragon, like not breeding leatherbacks together, and I'm not too sure about it, but I think they can call that another name, because they haven't bred them the way that they've bred the leatherbacks or silkbacks in America, but I'm not too sure, so don't take my word on that. But if they really wanted to, if they were going to sell them, they call it a silkback, because, like, that's what everyone knows them by. So, yeah, hypo and translucent, that's the same as well, with the clear nails or whatever. So when these guys breed, or if they breed, these guys are both 100% het hypo, so they will both, like, if you breed these guys, then you'll get 50% Hypo Bitter Dragons. So that's the one with the clear nails, and they basically don't have much or any black on them. They've got a lot of like really clear and bright colors on them, like basically all the time. Obviously they can go dark to heat up in the sun, but most of the time they wouldn't. And then translucent, they have the black eyes most of the time. That's called like a full translucent, or like 100% translucent. And then they have, when they're little, they have like an almost see-through belly, but then that fades away over time, so then they get known for the black eyes. And yeah, that's what they are. So there's a few breeders out there that you'll see online called like Fire and Ice Bearded Dragons, and the Sandfire, like I said, and Lemon Head and stuff. There's lots of morphs, and you can call them that, like I said, but just make sure when you sell them, if you sell them, then you just say like red/yellow or something. And if you breed, say, like when I breed these guys, I could either call them a red/yellow/white, like, I could just put that in the description, but I'd call them a red phase bearded dragon, because the red is a more dominant color than the yellow and white, and because because Daisy also has red on her, that'll show up more in her babies. But in the description, I'd obviously put the Rick Walker name under him, and then just like all her colors, not like Samphire or anything like that. I just say her colors. So I'd put yellow, white, red. Yeah, that's pretty much it for her. Maybe a bit of blue. She's got a bit of blue on her back, but it's more of a black blue. It's like grey. So yeah, I hope that clears up all your questions. I hope this video is helpful. So yeah, once again, if you have any questions about the morphs and everything like that, just ask me through the comments. I might make a video on it, or I might just answer it in the comments. Put these guys back in. I'm actually going to make sure I cut this soon. Cut the lemongrass, because it's getting way too long. Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't seen it before. I make a lot of videos, probably make at least 2 a week. Depends what's going on. So, yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.